everyone, and welcome to the second webinar of the Ask an Entrepreneur series, hosted by the Youth Employment Network. Our website, The Marketplace, is an online community of young entrepreneurs and youth employment practitioners. You can connect with other entrepreneurs and find resources and opportunities like these free webinars. You might also be interested in our e-coaching program that matches young entrepreneurs with experienced business mentors. In today's webinar, Emily Doubilet is going to tell us about how she started a successful business that reflects her concern for the environment and her passion for fun social events. After her presentation, we'll have about 20 minutes for your questions.
I love parties. They play a very important role in my life. And I even met my business partner, Jessica, at a party. But parties and events are actually the second largest waste generating industry in the United States, just behind the construction industry. That is a huge amount of waste. But I feel parties and events keep us going, and the connections we make with each other are the most important thing in this world. So how could parties be more sustainable? And how could sustainable tableware and products be more fun? How can living your life sustainably be a celebration? And that's the mission of Susty Party. So we create a line of made in the USA, biodegradable plate, bowls, straws and cups, and they're actually distributed in over 100 Whole Foods, and we're working on a launch to go distribute our products nationally across the United States by the spring. Okay, so thank you very much for advancing the slide, Sharon. So why did I personally start this? Well, I grew up with a love, and how did I connect with my amazing business partner, Jessica, who's also pictured there? Well, I grew up with a love for nature, traveling with my underwater photographer parents, but also witnessing coral reefs deteriorating due to climate change and plastic pollution. So I studied how to protect the environment at Oberlin College, but maybe you guys can tell I've always been a performer at heart, and I love making people smile and bringing them together. And I felt that people need to smile and have fun in order to really protect the environment. So after college, I moved back to Brooklyn, New York City, where I'm actually from New York as well, and I started throwing environmentally themed parties and events. I even put on a global warming burlesque performance art show. But all these venues were using plastic cups and tableware and creating a huge amount of waste. So I decided to look for alternatives, and I didn't like what was out there, and I decided to start my own company to provide alternatives to all this disposable tableware waste that parties generate, and to make parties more sustainable, and to make eco-friendly tableware a little more fun. Then I ran into Jessica at a party, of course, and Jessica Holsey, or as some may call her J-Ho, played basketball at Harvard. She was the captain of the basketball team before Harvard basketball was cool with Jeremy Lin and Liz Sanity. But she worked after college in private equity at what many might consider a dream job. She was making bank, living kind of the standard progression, but she just noticed a disconnect between the success in the business world and her values. So when I explained my idea to her, she wanted to join me, and we set off together. And I think it's been really important to have a partner, a business partner that complements my strengths and supplements my weaknesses. That was crucial for me. So we met that was in 2009, and then we started searching the world for the best eco-friendly tableware products and sold the best of them online at sustyparty.com, which is an online retail store that we still curate and maintain today. But then over years, since 2009 of research, we found factories and materials that we felt were innovative and aligned with our values and weren't being fully used in the party tableware market. We decided to launch our own line of products just this past May. And all our products have to meet certain standards. They have to be compostable, made from renewable resources. And that's really important because plastic is definitely not compostable. Every piece of plastic ever made still exists today, and not a renewable resource, of course. We wanted to make it made in the USA because that's where we're from and want to support local business and economy. It has to, of course, be non-toxic and safe for human and environmental health, made fairly, and we're a certified youth trade corporation and B corporation. So I mentioned at the beginning of the talk, sorry, I have a chat. You guys can hear me, right? Okay, so, okay, sorry about that. Just wanted to check the volume there. So, we're a youth trade corporation, which is a new certification, and I can mention it a little bit more later in the presentation, to identify young entrepreneurs under the age of 35 that are building a conscious business, and then provide market access to them, as well as just mentorship and incubation. They can really grow their business and put their values into practice. Even if they're young, like me, and might not have a lot of experience, Youth Trade has really helped us grow, youthtrade.org. And B Corporation is actually a new legal structure, as well as a certification for businesses that value the environment and community just as much as financial economic returns. So that's like a triple bottom line business. But I would really say our business is a quadruple bottom line business because we also have a spiritual value that we live by as well. But B Corporation, to become certified, is to take a very strict assessment, and they evaluate your environmental impact, your social impact, from the specific policies you have, life cycle analysis of products. There's a great concrete way that you can build your business to be triple or quadruple bottom line. And everyone starting their own business or who owns a business should look into becoming a certified B Corporation. And Susty Party is proud to be one as well. So you can go to the next slide, please. So finally, our products. Yes, I've been talking, and I'm sorry I haven't shown you the products, but here they are. Our plates were the first products we launched in May, and they come in these 4 colors. They're made out of tapioca starch and grass fiber, and mineral pigment. They are certified non-toxic. They are made in the USA, and they're compostable. They're actually home compostable, which is different from traditional bioplastics that have to be composted in an industrial compost. These break down very easily and are actually certified by OK Compost Home for a less well-maintained home compost. So, and they've picked up a lot of speed since we launched. Martha Stewart's Whole Living magazine features a blue plate in their August issue, and they are in over 100 Whole Foods stores right now. And we're it's been amazing to be able to launch our own product, and we feel it's a very sturdy, great product. I love using it at all my parties and get-togethers as well. So you can do the next slide, please. So this is just a picture of me. We were thrilled to see the products when they launched Whole Foods on shelves. We visited every store. We talked to all the store team leaders and managers. And you can do the next one, actually. The next slide, please. So the next product we launched in July was a party straw. These are also certified compostable. They're also paper recyclable as well. They are non-toxic, elemental, chlorine-free dyes. They're made in the USA. And they're made from sustainably harvested FSC certified paper, which is different from a lot of the straws on the market, there are some similar paper straws on the market, but they're often being imported from overseas, from Asia, and not made with eco-friendly ink. So ours do have that full eco-friendly, eco-ink and responsibly made in the USA attributes. You can do the next slide, please, Sharon. And you can see the party and event planners love the straws. They're blown up all over Pinterest. They just make a fun table setting. Do the next slide, please. And our cups are our new babies. They are not in stores yet, but they are about to launch in. And they're also made from FSC certified, sustainably harvested paper with a biodegradable lining, so you can hold hot or cold liquids. Also non-toxic, and next slide please. The best attribute is that they're made by a nonprofit that trains and employs visually impaired individuals for green-collar jobs, called the Clover Nook Center for the Blind and Visually Impaired in Ohio. And they're a nonprofit initiative, so we've been working with them as much as we can to fulfill many parts of our business, from manufacturing a new line of cups to warehousing and fulfillment of some of our other products as well. It's just been a wonderful partnership building businesses now. Next slide, please. And we just love making partnerships and throwing a party everywhere we go, because that's really the mission of our company, is to encourage people to have fun and have those great, exciting connections, but also be interested in sustainability and sustainable alternatives to disposable products. So I shouldn't even say sustainable alternatives, but a little more responsibly made alternative to disposable products, so that we can still have fun and have big parties and events. So wherever we go, we try to make it a party, and we set up our photo booth, the Susty Party props made from our straws. We pass out temporary Susty Party tattoos, and we just like to get all our customers, our Whole Foods vendors, even high executives have fun posing in the photo booth like this. And we just try to, share the party with everyone. Next, please. And we also support a variety of environmental and charitable initiatives as much as we can. We're still a small business, but we sponsor tableware to as many events as we can, as many nonprofit and charity events. Recently, our hometown was hit by the Superstorm Sandy. We've been donating tableware to feed hot meals to displaced people. But an environmental initiative that we're proud of is a small take-back program in New York City, partnering with Bokashi Kitchen Waste Solutions, that goes into inner-city schools and community parks and teaches kids about composting. And our products are actually taken back from a lot of the events we do sponsor. We try to encourage everyone to compost products to end the event, which is a challenge in this country. There's not curbside composting service yet. So we try to encourage people to connect with industrial composters that pick it up, or a take-back program like this, where we can actually teach kids about how the product breaks down, and then create compost that they can then grow their own urban food with, urban gardening and agriculture. So, okay, you can do the next slide, please. So yes, youth trade I talked a little bit about in the beginning, and I just wanted to emphasize how great a program this is for young conscious capitalists, because we could not have gotten this far without first being incubated and certified by youth trade. You can do the next slide, please. When we first launched in May, it was part of the youth trade launch. It was in 28 Whole Foods Market stores, which is a great opening account for a new business and a new product, along with about 20 of our young conscious capitalist peer entrepreneurs. They put us up in these end cap displays across the stores for about a month. And here you can see my business partner Jessica posing at the youth trade end cap. And the buyers mentored us and advised us on developing our line. This is the Whole Foods North Atlantic region. They do have 11 regions that all have very decentralized decision-making, which is another great part of the Whole Foods organization. And it's just amazing that Whole Foods is supporting youth trade. The youth unemployment rate just in the United States is above 15% right now. So this is a program that hopefully will not only train and provide market access to young entrepreneurs, such as myself, but also inspire others to build their own businesses. And we do get evaluated for our conscious values. So the conscious capitalism values are really just trying to make the world a better place, and considering the impact on the environment and community, economic justice, and just overall general happiness and building a conscious culture. they do have a little acronym called tactile in terms of the values you put into a conscious culture, which I was gonna say for you guys. So it is. I always forget one of the words, but okay. So tactile, T trust, A authenticity, C caring, T transparency, I integrity, L learning, and E empowerment. So those are some of the conscious culture values that we all try to build on together. And with the community of youth trade peers, other companies like Bruna, Bixby Bars, Sienna Snacks Food, you're going to hear from Kate from Bixby next week on this seminar. We support each other to grow our businesses, and we share best practices from, most socially responsible HR policies to how do you make the most environmentally friendly packaging. It's just been an invaluable community with peer support and mentorship from us, and most importantly, access to the market that they've opened up all these amazing buyer meetings for us. So, up to youth trade. If you're young and want to start a conscious business, you should definitely connect with them because they've helped us so much. And I'll just, wrap things up by saying that I love going to work every day in my little office in Brooklyn and working with Jessica and our other employees. We're still pretty small, so we really only have about 2 others, but we are growing. And it's just so fun for me to go to work because I'm proud that I feel like I'm building a business that really reflects my passion and my values to make the world a better place and have fun while doing it and encourage other people to have fun. So I'll close with our motto, respect Earth and party on. And thank you guys.
That's great. Emily, thank you so much. What a wonderful presentation. I'm going to go back to this presentation here. And I'd like to open it up for some questions. So, Emily, my first question for you is, what were you doing before you started this, and how did you transition to being an entrepreneur?
Oh, sure. And I don't see the actual Q&A chat right now. Could
okay,
you
I can
tell me? Yeah, and then I can answer.
Yeah, I can read them out.
Okay. I was, as I mentioned, living in New York City, being a performance artist, throwing parties and events that were often themed around the environment. But that was not my full-time job. I was, for the 3 years after I graduated, working at Icestone, which is the manufacturer of an eco-friendly durable surface right here in Brooklyn that can be used for countertops. It's a recycled glass countertop, and I was the sustainability director there for about 3 years, and that also I also had the responsibility of greening all their events. And they had a lot of amazing events, like big company meetings once a month for over 60 people, where they fed everyone, and lots of different company parties, because they had an amazing conscious culture as well. So when I was greening their events, that also became my obsession, along with throwing my own events and art parties after work. So that really kind of helped me get into, well, why, how can we green more events, and how can we get more tableware that is responsibly made, and that really inspired me to set off on my own. Along with the culture of entrepreneurship in Icestone, in the business, where I was really close to CEOs. I worked as their project manager a lot, and they were very supportive of me kind of investigating a little business on the side. And I had it on the side for over a year, just kind of slowly investigating it on the weekends. What if I started my own online retail store for this? So that's how I kind of slowly transitioned from my full-time work at Icestone to a little side business, work on it for a few years, work on my art as well, and then slowly focusing more and more on the business and transitioning to run it full-time.
Okay. So we've got another question from one of our members. Do you find that there's a trade-off in trying to be a profitable business while still maintaining the principles of a triple bottom line?
I think that there's always going to be trade-offs, but I don't think anything more than anything else. Because I think building a conscious capitalism business is crucial to our bottom line. It's part of our bottom line. From a mission standpoint, I wouldn't be happy doing something if it didn't also positively impact the environment and the community and the happiness of people around me. So, from the top management, Jessica and I aren't driven just by the economic profitability, but at the same time, yes, you have to have a profitable business to keep going. But I think that when you do the right thing, it often is the right thing for your business to be profitable, because especially in this day and age, so much is about transparency and sharing who you are and everything you do for the business and every policy. Especially if you're saying that you're an eco-friendly business, people are going to keep peeling layers back and looking at everything you do. So you really have to have a foolproof, totally integrity-filled business model. And so I don't really think there is necessarily a trade-off, because that builds your business to profitability when you're doing things in a conscious way, because you build that trust, that integrity, that transparency with not only your consumers, but all the stakeholders you do business with, your suppliers. You just have great relationships with people, and I think those relationships are what really drives the business.
Okay, we've got another question from Harry Martinian, and he's asking about what your education was like. So maybe you can tell us a bit about your background, and he asks you to talk a little bit about your art.
Oh, thanks. Well, I before college, I grew up in New York City, at a private school, and then I went to Oberlin College, which is a liberal arts college. So very gave room for students to be very creative with their projects, and it also has one of the best environmental studies programs in the country. An amazing eco-friendly building that produces its own energy and filters its own wastewater through a plant living system, through this almost like a mini jungle called the living machine that filters all the water and recycles it. So I really got to learn a lot about eco-friendly living and systems at Oberlin. And also when I traveled, growing up with my parents, going diving with them, seeing coral reefs, and also taking time off from college, I worked as a dive master. So I really got to connect with the environment and see even firsthand the effects of climate change. When I was working as a dive master in this island nation of Palau, the water level had risen in my own lifetime, and coral reefs were dying. So, and the island was just shrinking. So anyway, I was really influenced by my studies abroad, as well as my studies at Oberlin, which is a very idealistic, fun, energetic place on, how can we make the world a better place, but also live a lifestyle that is fun and is happy. And then my art was also inspired by that, because I, from an early age, loved performing and getting people together to smile and feel happy and maybe feel a little crazy. So, and I think that's what invigorates people to keep living a life based on their values. Because in the environmental studies department at Oberlin, it was easy to have a really heavy feeling. In the sustainability world in general, it can often be very heavy, oh, we have to save the world, everything's dying, and it is we're in a very, very crazy time environmentally where it is heavy, it is super serious. But if you get too wrapped up in that, it's easy to just kind of be overloaded and then not do any action. So I was thinking, how can I have the environmental studies department and all the other people working for a more sustainable world have a little more fun? So I started, putting on these dance shows. I love dancing, and comedic dance and burlesque and theming it about in the environment. So there's some videos online. I'm sure I could show you guys eventually. But does that answer the question? I don't want to get too detailed because I know we don't have too much time. But you know, art is definitely an important part of my life, and I feel like it relates to throwing parties and invigorating people.
Thank you. Maybe you could even put the link to some of your previous work in the chat to everyone. And also, you know, Shanika Burnett is asking if you could highlight the websites that you were talking about at the beginning of your presentation. Maybe you could tell us more about those, and then also put the links in the chat so people can visit them later.
Sure. So I just put the link to Suspicious Package, which is my music and dance duo. And we've created a lot of music and music videos inspired by the wonder of biodiversity and nature and living creatures. So that's, you know, been my current art and music project. But if you go further back researching Suspicious Package, you can see some of the early global warming burlesque show stuff that we did, because I also did that with that group's name. And did you want the link to Ice Stone, the company I worked for previously before starting my own business?
Let me just go back to the beginning here.
This is the link to Ice Stone, which is
okay.
Another amazing conscious business in New York City.
Yeah. And then maybe you could put the links for B Corp and also for Youth Trade.
Oh yeah, sure.
Or I can find them and add them. Our next question actually is from Ayush Chabra, and he's asking, well, he says, it's risky to start a new business right away. So when did you know that you were ready to take the risk?
That's a good question. Well, after about a year of weekend warrior experimenting on the side, I decided it was time. But I don't even think I was ready then. Well, what I really did was I left my full-time job, and luckily I had saved up and had a little bit of a cushion. So a bit of a cushion of money that I could fall back on, and I decided to actually focus on my art and grow my business as a side business, but not do it really full time, which was super risky, and I really wouldn't recommend doing it the way I did it unless you know, can really get yourself a big cushion. Honestly, you know, that's just the truth of how my story goes. But you know, that was in 2009 when I left, but it really took almost until now, you know, until like 2011 really to get the online store functioning to a somewhat decent place for just me and Jessica, and then 2012 when we launched our new line of products was really a breakthrough point for us. So, you know, there's no one formula that fits everyone, but just, you know, make sure you have enough of a cushion of cash to fall back on, or a really solid plan to raise it from investors, because it always takes a lot longer than you think for a business to be profitable. So that's my advice for that. But I also don't be scared. You know, just don't be deterred. Jump out there and do it, and you can figure a lot out on the job and make it work. Being determined is the most important thing. And
okay, thank you. So you talked about working with Jessica and how you were friends before you started the business together. Do you find that there are some challenges to going into business with a personal friend, or, you know, some people might start a business with their family members? So what do you think are the challenges or the pressures there?
It is also a challenge to go into business, I think, with any business partner. But I also think it's such a crucial aspect to not be doing it by yourself, especially for someone like me. I really enjoy having a business partner that can really, as I mentioned, complement my strengths, supplement my weaknesses. It's just so much work to start a business, and to do it alone is very daunting. And I think you see a lot of other people our age, you know, in their 20s and 30s, starting with business partners more than ever before, because our culture is just becoming a lot more collaborative. I wasn't really close friends with Jessica when we started. So even though we had connected at a party, we weren't super close friends, more of acquaintances. So I think our friendship really did develop through a business partnership. And so it's probably different for every person, but for me, you know, that was ideal. And you know, I probably couldn't have really gone into business with any other of my friends or family members, because it can get really intense. So, you know, looking for a business partner is definitely, you know, a little bit of an art, a little bit of a science, but not a decision to make lightly, because you can come into a lot of conflict if you don't have that perfect balance.
Okay. We have one more question from Ayush, and I'm going to unmute him so he can ask it directly. Ayush, go ahead.
Yeah, hello. Hi, Emily. Actually, I was really impressed at the way you said and everything you did. But I'm in India, so here you have burdens, so you cannot be an entrepreneur right away, right? You have family pressures and all. So what do you think an entrepreneur is? I mean, one who has innovation, or one who just, you know, wants to achieve, who wants to be somebody. So what do I need to have? Like, I need to have that art, or I need to have that, you know, thing to achieve, you know, that I do have, but I don't think like I can be, you know, seriously looking for a new product innovation right away. But as of now, I wanted to achieve something. So do you think that this thing can actually help you out there, or you have to you know, get into the market with a product or with an art like you did? Thank you.
Thanks, Ayush. Good to hear someone else's voice. I was getting a little sick of my own voice. No, I'm kidding. So I think that's a really beautiful question, and I personally, you know, people sometimes say, well, how did you decide you wanted to start your own business or be an entrepreneur? And I just feel like I've always known, you know, and maybe, you know, it's a type of person where you're as Lady Gaga might say, we're born this way, you know, we're born this way, baby. So it's like, it's just, you know, a type, we're born, you know, wanting to create something, and you know, everyone has their own personality type. Sometimes I get interested in, you know, Myers-Briggs type indicator tests, you know, because some people are natural leaders, some people are natural followers, some people are, you know, natural, really analyzing concrete data, and some people are natural at thinking of big ideas. So I think, you know, if you kind of, and also Strengths Finders is another good tool. So Myers-Briggs type indicator and Strengths Finders is another kind of personality test to really find out what your strengths are. And then I think anyone with the drive and the passion can be an entrepreneur, but I think you really do have to find something that builds off your strengths. You know, not just find any product or any business. You know, it has to be something you're personally invested in that fits the strengths of your personality, like what you're naturally inclined to. And you know, and yeah, just, you know, making it something that means a lot to you personally. And you know, of course, for a conscious capitalist, that involves a business idea or plan that also has really positive effects on the environment and the community, and for us, you know, the spiritual happiness of people as well. So, I mean, I don't know if that answers the question, but I think that if you have the drive to be an entrepreneur, you can do it.
Ayush, does that answer your question?
Yeah, surely. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I hope that answered it. I mean, I didn't hear some of the beginning, so feel free to ask me more questions after this. I'll share my email address and everything.
Yeah, sure. I'll call you. Yeah.
So we have another question from AJ, so I'll unmute him next. AJ, go ahead.
Happy. Better. Hello.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How are you, AJ?
So my question was that how did a business idea came to your mind, and what all steps did you take to implement these into reality?
Well, it came to mind, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, when I was throwing a lot of parties myself and I couldn't find eco-friendly party tableware, and I just felt that events and parties were generating a huge amount of waste, but they needed to be part of a sustainable lifestyle, because I felt like I wanted a sustainable lifestyle to be a fun celebration. So that's, kind of how I transitioned from what I was doing to creating a new business idea. And then the steps I implemented were just, as I mentioned in the presentation, first scouring the planet for the best eco-friendly tableware out there, and then starting an online retail store at sustyparty.com where I sold the best products I could find. So I first just acted as an online retail store, doing a lot of drop shipping with different manufacturers, which then transitioned into, finding some products and having our own little warehouse that we controlled more closely, which then evolved to launching our own line of products, once we had been really researching and testing that market for a while and making connections to different manufacturers and scientists and factories.
AJ, did that answer your question? Okay. So there's a follow-up question, actually. Someone asked, did you take a course, or how did you know what steps to follow? I mean, was it mostly online research, or where did you learn about starting a business?
Well, I studied a little bit of business at Oberlin College in the Environmental Studies department. I read a book called Natural Capitalism, which I highly recommend, which I'll type, and Cradle to Cradle. And these are books about product and business design, whole system design, really, that is good for people and planet. So I did a lot of reading in college. My major was environmental studies with a focus in sustainable business. But in terms of, on-the-ground training for my own business, I really did figure it out as I was going. I'm hesitant to recommend this book, but I'll do it anyway. I read one book that I'll type in called The 4-Hour Work Week, which I think should be taken with a huge grain of salt, because I don't think the work week can be 4 hours. I mean, especially for entrepreneurs, it's going to be 80 hours for years. And I also think this book is more about making money than it is about conscious capitalism. But if you take some of the business principles in there, which is basically that anyone can start a business, and there's a lot of tools out there that you can develop an online store and drop ship products and test markets. And that book details some of the ways to do it. That was a bit of an inspirational, just a few tools on how to start. How to, A, brainstorm about a business that you could start, and then B, test the market for it a little bit. But aside from that, just talking to people as much as possible has been big. You can sit on the internet and do research so you're blue in the face, but it's really about picking up the phone or having face-to-face meetings and talking to people who are knowledgeable in the industry you're investigating. Because when you start a business, you really need to go deep, and that knowledge is not going to be floating around on the internet. You need to start having meetings. Don't be scared to pick up the phone and call people and start developing relationships. Informational interviews, you can try to get people to mentor you, but you can also see if you can help out the people you're trying to get advice from down the line first, by saying, I really admire what you're doing, how can I learn more to help you out? And then eventually these people will, down the line, possibly, if you have a good connection, help you out in turn. So I think it's a lot about talking to people and finding great business mentors.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned business mentors because we're going to take that, a related question for our last question because we're running out of time here. So your last question is, did you have any role models or anyone that you looked up to while you were starting your business? Was there anyone who really influenced you when you were just getting started?
Yes. The CEO and founder, or co-founder of Icestone, which is where I used to work, is named Peter Strugat, and he was a mentor and a role model for me when I was starting my business. And he still is, and I still have great meetings with him and get wonderful advice because he has had a lot of experience investing in conscious capitalism businesses and founding his own, and is a great conscious leader. So that was someone I really looked up to and still do, and get great advice and support from, and inspiration.
Thank you. Well, Emily, I'm sure that you are also an inspiration to the people who are watching the webinar now. I'm certainly inspired. And we really appreciate you taking the time to do this presentation with us and to answer the questions so patiently and in so much detail. I'm just going to go back to our slideshow here so I can share with everyone how we're going to follow up with this webinar. So you can find the video recording of this webinar on our past events page, which you can see, it says Experts Corner Past Events. There's the link there. And you can also go onto our Facebook page and like us if you want to get announcements about upcoming webinars. We'll be having them every week on Wednesday for the next few weeks. And so if you want to come back next week, we'll be speaking with Kate McAleer, who you mentioned already, who has a business creating, I think it's organic chocolate that she's selling across the country now through Youth Trade and Whole Foods. All right, so let's wrap up. So thank you everyone for joining the event today. As I said, we'll be posting the video recording on our website, so go to the Yen Marketplace to watch the recording and to sign up for next week's event. So Emily, thank you very much once again. It was a pleasure hearing from you today. And if you'd like, we can share your email so that people can ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.